Today I'm with Barry Siskind with the International Training and Management Company, and he has done over the last few months several reports specifically around the government sector for CEIR. And I'm asking him today on those 4 reports, what did you learn? What did you learn from doing your research and presentation of the reports?
Well, what I learned, an awful lot of what I learned I knew from before, because I had been, over my career, been dealing with an awful lot of government agencies and departments and, and all that. And one of the things that I knew before, which is why I approached CEIR to write this series of articles, was that governments are different. And the other interesting thing, if you take a look at the last CEIR census, you find that the government sector was the largest growth sector of all the different sectors who get involved in exhibiting. And so here you've got a growing group of exhibitors who really are different than the public sector. Mm-hmm. And yet they've never been, their needs have never truly been addressed. So, because I've been involved with it. Yeah, I mean, I don't work for the government, but as a consultant, I've been involved with helping government exhibitors for so long, and I knew this particular issue was important to them. Mm-hmm. That's why I came up with the series of articles, or reports. The first one was sort of a general overview, it's just called the government exhibitor, I think. I don't know the exact. And then, as a result of that, I wrote 3 more. Mm-hmm. One was from the government exhibitor's point of view. One was dealing with human resources. One was dealing with display, the actual physical display, and the last one was dealing with the whole issue about of accountability. Uh-huh. And I've heard this so many times in my career. Governments will say to me, we can't measure our return because we don't sell anything. Right. And then I go back to them and I say, well, if you can't measure it, if you don't know you're getting a return, how on earth do you expect to get an adequate budget in order to do this program in the first place? So that kind of stimulated that one. Mm-hmm. And in a time when, not just because the economy is slow now. I mean, I think this issue of accountability happens anytime. Right. But at a time when the government exhibitor is being so pressed to ensure that what they do actually is meaningful. See, they're accountable to somebody. I mean, I don't just mean ultimately the end taxpayer, which of course we all are, but I mean they're accountable to management, they're accountable to all different levels within their organizations, because the organizations are giving them X number of resources, mm-hmm. both monetary and physical and other things, and with a mandate. Well, at the end of the day, without ever being able to sit down and calculate whether or not you've got a return on that, not necessarily a return on an investment, because that's mm-hmm. more private sector. Mm-hmm. But what we're thinking about here is a return on the objective. Right. Did they set an objective properly in the first place? Did they actually achieve it at the end of the day? Mm-hmm. I think without having that little bit of information, I think government exhibitors are at a really difficult spot for themselves. First of all, they work so hard putting these exhibits together, and how frustrating can that be, spending all of the time and energy and hopes, to create something cool mm-hmm. and effective, and not know if it works. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd hate to have a job like that. I want to know that what I do works. Mm-hmm. And so what I've done in that particular one is actually put together the process that I think a government exhibitor needs. It's focused strictly on public sector mm-hmm. In order to actually calculate a return on their objectives, the soft objectives.
How many would you say government exhibitors actually are concerned about ROO? Is it 5%, 10%, 50%? Or is there a number out there?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and I'm not sure if there is a number, and my gut reaction is it's low, mm-hmm. and I'll tell you why. Because they've never done it in the past.
Yes.
You have a lot of senior folks working for departments and agencies who have risen up through the ranks and have never done this. Mm-hmm. They've never actually gone and taken a look at their investment and said, did this pay off for my department? And so they've got like, a whole bunch of years of bad behavior, bad habits. You got a lot of the new folks that are coming who want to do something different. They want to be better. They want to prove that, in fact, that their work is making sense. But then there's that,
That conflict.
Yeah, there's a conflict. And this issue of accountability over the last 5 years has become huge. It was never there before. We would see lots of money being spent and, no accountability. It's definitely there now. Obama's going line by line, right? So it's definitely there to make sure that we're actually getting some kind of a response for our investment. And so my gut reaction guess is that it's some of the younger new folks that are joining the ranks of government exhibitors who are taking on that responsibility to do the program. There's the folks that are going to be more keen to do this. And I think that the more of them that keep asking the right questions, the more pressure they're putting on senior management to actually stop and go, hey, wait a minute. Maybe there is something else that we should be doing here.
Good. Well, let's look for your reports, and you can get them on CEIR.org. Thanks, Barry.
My pleasure.